Sorry. We need to have a pious. Like in the Beit HaMikdash. He pushes the button. How many fingers?
We all want to be Shemesh.
Rabbi say, I think you have too much time on your hands. Okay, we're on DAF Mem Ches Amud Aleph. Let's get our bearings. We're on the 7th line of the Gemara, and I just want to review where we were holding, because we're still in the middle of this sugya. It really is the basis of this whole discussion today is Rav's paskins that hamakadesh b'milva eina mekudeshes, that if you try to marry a woman using the mechanism of forgiving debt, it doesn't work. You're not giving her anything of substance right now. It's too ethereal for it to be a proper mechanism of kiddushin. The Gemara had suggested yesterday that there's a brisa that seems to be indicating that there's a machlokas on this topic, because it brought a machlokas between Reb Meir and the Chachamim, where in a situation where a man presents his wife with a debt that she can use now to collect, that there's a machlokas between Reb Meir and the Chachamim. Reb Meir says it is a valid kiddushin, and the Chachamim say it's not valid. The Gemara had said that based on the language, there's two different cases in that brisa. The first case, maybe just water if you don't mind.
It's plain water.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul. You're a tzaddik. That based on the language, I don't want to take your water.
No, it's fine. It's hot, but just be careful.
Okay.
It's fine. No, it's fine. I don't need it as much as Rabbi doesn't.
Okay, so there's two cases in the brisa. One is where he presents her with a debt, and the second one is where he presents her, or the first one is he presents her with a note, and the second one he presents her with a debt. So the Gemara says, what's the difference between the two? Both a note, which is an IOU, and a debt are the same thing. So the Gemara had said, must be that one is a promissory note for collecting from other people, which has true financial value objectively, and the other one is forgiveness of a debt, which is not substantive. And so you see that that's a machlokas. So the Gemara says, no, you don't understand. That's not what the brisa means. The brisa in both cases is talking about giving over to my wife a debt for her to collect from other people. That, everyone would agree, would work if all the conditions are met. But it's got nothing to do with being makadesh b'milva by forgiving a debt that she owes me. Right? What's the machlokas? So the Gemara had gone through different iterations of where I do a written promissory note and I want to give it to her. That's what we had seen yesterday. Why then did the Bryce have to give the second case of an oral debt? Because an oral debt also, there are certain conditions that have to be met in order for the oral debt to be transferred from the lender to a third party, which in this case is the woman the guy wants to marry. And that's where we're up to. B'milva al peh b'mai pligi. So what's the machlokas between Reb Meir and the Chachamim regarding an oral debt? B'der Rav Huna amar Rav. Amar Rav Huna amar Rav. Manali biyadcha t'nei leploni b'mai matshloshten kana. Mar savar kik amar Rav hanimila b'pikadon aval milva lo. Or Mar savar lo shna milva v'lo shna pikadon. So the machlokas is as follows. There's a special halacha which really doesn't have any rhyme or reason when you think about it. If let's say Reuven is a creditor, Shimon is a debtor, and Reuven wants, and it's an oral debt, right? It's done in front of witnesses, but there's no paperwork. Reuven says, you know what? I want to give Levi a gift. So I'm going to present Levi with rights of collection from Shimon. I won't collect from Shimon. Levi will have the money from Shimon. So what do? So Rabbi said that you can, as long as you gather all three people together, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, Reuven makes a declaration in the presence of Shimon and Levi that from now on, Shimon, you pay Levi instead of paying me, then that works. Even though there's no rhyme or reason to that, but there's been no kinyan, there's been no transfer of anything substantive, nevertheless, the Chachamim say that works. So therefore, the machlokas between Reb Meir and the Chachamim in our brisa is, does that work with a loan, or does it only work with when I gave Shimon an object for safekeeping? In other words, let's say I gave him a bag of gold coins. And I told him, please watch that, and when I'm ready to collect it, I'll come back for the gold coins. So according to the Chachamim, only then when there's something of substance do we say that gathering all three people together, what's called Maimon Shlashtan, works to automatically transfer the object or rights of collection of that bag of gold from Reuven to Levi. And but Rabbi Meir says, no, it works even with a loan. Even if I lent Shimon cash, I can still just verbally transfer the rights of collection from myself over to Levi. And therefore, Reb Meir says that if I use that in the third person is not Levi, but rather the woman I want to marry, so then I can legally transfer a debt of collection with a loan from myself over to her, and therefore she's Mekudeshes. I've transferred value to her. But the Chachamim say it doesn't work. But the bottom line is that brisa has nothing to do with being Makadesh B'milva, marrying her with forgiving her debt. And that's really the issue that we want to try and discuss. Nema Kitanai. So let us say that the machlokes, as whether or not you could be Makadesh a woman with a forgiving debt or not, has to do with the following brisa. Maybe we'll find the machlokes over here. Here's the brisa. Hiskachili b'shtar, Rabbi Meir omer eina mekudeshes, Rabbi Lazar omer mekudeshes, b'chachamim omrim Neshama es hanir im yesh bo shavar pruta mekudeshes, v'im lav eina mekudeshes. We have a three-way machlokes in this brisa. Rabbi Meir says that if a man presents a woman with a shtar, then legally she's not married with that shtar. Rabbi Lazar says legally she is married with the shtar. And the Chachamim are somewhere in the middle. They say, really, the shtar itself is not a valid mechanism, but if the paper that the shtar is written on is worth a shava pruta, then she accepts the paper as an object of value with which to be mekudeshes. So, hai shtar hechidami. So the Gemara says, what kind of shtar are we talking about? Ilema shtar chov da'acherim kasha de Reb Meir da'ad Reb Meir. So the Gemara's first assumption is we're talking about a promissory note, but it can't be a promissory note that I, the man, want to be Makadesh a woman with a promissory note that others owe me money, because if that's the case, we saw the previous brisa that Reb Meir says that works. Mm-hmm. How can over here Reb Meir say that it doesn't work? So Ella bishtar chov dida uve Makadesh b'milva kamiflagi. So we must conclude the previous brisa was when I present a woman a promissory note to collect from others. That's why Reb Meir says it's a good kiddushin. Over here, I'm presenting her with her own shtar chov, meaning I'm forgiving her debt. And therefore you see that according to Reb Meir it doesn't work, and according to Rebbe Lazar it does work. So you see it's a machlokas tanoim. So the Gemara says no. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, you totally misunderstood the brisa. Hacha b'may askinon kegon shekid shebishtar she'ein alav edim. We're talking about a shtar kiddushin. Not a promissory note, not an IOU, but a note that says on it, Harei at mekudeshes li bishtar zu. But there's only one problem with the shtar. It doesn't have witnesses signed on the shtar. Now let's go back to our discussion in Maseches Gittin. V'Reb Meir l'taimei d'omer edei chasima karzi, v'Reb Elazar l'taimei d'omer edei mesira karzi. And the famous machlokas between Reb Meir and Reb Elazar in so many pages in Maseches Gittin. When we require witnesses on a get, do we require them to be the signatories in the paper, or do we require them to witness the transmission of the get from husband to wife? So according to Reb Meir, the crucial part is that they sign the get. If they don't sign the get, it's not valid. Reb Elazar says, no, it's not crucial for them to sign the get. It works even without their signatures, but they need to witness the transmission. That's what they need to witness. So therefore, they're consistent. Reb Meir says there's no signatures on the shtar kiddushin, and therefore, just like by a get it's not kosher, so too by kiddushin it's not kosher. And Rabbi Lazar says no, as long as you have witnesses that witness the transmission of the shtar from the man to the woman, it's perfectly fine. V'rabbanon. So how do we account for the chachamim? Misaf gilahu ikar Reb Meir ikar Rabbi Lazar hilchach shaman es hanir im yesh bo shavar pruta mekudeshes v'im lavena mekudeshes. Okay, so Rashi explains to us the Chachamim really aren't sure how we paskin, and so l'chumra we have to say she's not mekudeshes. The only thing that the Chachamim allow for is that they say that a woman has in mind that she wants to be married with any mechanism that is available to her to work. So even if the shtar doesn't work, as long as the paper is a shava pruta, she's willing to accept that as the mechanism for marriage. Okay, so that's one way of explaining the brisa. Another way of explaining the machlokes is, once again, we're not talking about being makadesh b'milva. We're talking about a man giving a woman a shtar that says Harayat mekudeshesli. But what's the machlokes? The man wrote the shtar shelo lishma. Remember, we talked about this in Gittin. When you write a get, you can't say, well, give me a get made out to Rachel and I'll decide later which Rachel I want to divorce. The same thing is if a man tells a Sefer, I've always wanted to marry a girl named Rachel, but I just haven't met her yet. So do me a favor, write a star kiddushin made out to a girl named Rachel, and I'll find a Rachel and I'll give it to her.
You tell the Shatran that as well.
What?
You tell the Shatran that as well. Find me someone named Rachel.
Yeah, right. So the question is, does that work or not?
That's easy. Look at the other stuff.
The boy Reish Lakish, star Eris and Shekasva Shalo Lishma Mau, Havaya Liyitzia Makshinan Ma Yitzia Bo'inu Lishma, Havaya Nomi Bo'inu Lishma, Odilma Havayos Lahadadi Makshinan, Ma Havaya de Kesef Lo Bo'inu Lishma, Afavaya de Shtar Lo Bo'inu Lishma. We had seen this sugya earlier in Kiddushin. The question is like this. Does a star kiddushin have to be written lishma? Do we connect it to the laws of Gittin, that just like a get has to be written lishma for the sake of that specific woman, so too the kiddushin has to be written for a specific Rachel? Or do you say no? It makes more sense to connect the laws of kiddushin mechanisms to each other. And one of the kiddushin mechanisms is kesef. Now when the minted the coin, did they mint it for the sake of Kiddushin? No. So therefore you see that the Kiddushin mechanism does not have to be Lishma. So too the Shtar does not have to be Lishma. So the Gemara says, Basar debaye hodar pashta b'yatzav ha'isa makish avaya liyitzia. So Reish Lakish had originally asked it as a question, but then he said, no, it's pashut that when it comes to a document, the laws of Gittin are exactly analogous to the laws of Kiddushin, and therefore a Shtar Kiddushin also has to be written Lishma. But maybe this is the Machlokis, Mar Islay de Reish Lakish, Mar Leslay de Reish Lakish, that Reb Meir says she's not Mikudeshes because he holds like Reish Lakish, it wasn't written Lishma, and Reb Elazar doesn't hold of Reish Lakish, he says it doesn't have to be written Lishma. The Ibai say, I'll give you another explanation as to the Machlokes. Dekule alma islahu de Reish Lakish, v'hacha b'may askinan, shekasva lishma v'shalom midaita, uveplukta de Rava v'Ravina v'Rav Papa v'Rav Sharvia kamiflagi. Here's another way of looking at this Machlokes. Maybe the guy wrote it lishma for this specific Rachel. However, he did not notify her in advance that he was having this paper drawn up. And the question is that a valid Shtar Kiddushin or not? And it's a Machlokes Amoraim. De itmar kasva lishma v'shalom midaita. This exact discussion, if you write it for her, but you don't inform her in advance, so Rava v'Ravina amri mikudeshes, Rav Papa v'Rav Sharvia amri eina mikudeshes. Rav and Ravina say it's a valid document, and Rav Papa and Rav Sharvia say it doesn't work. So what's the reason? So the Machlokes is like this. One opinion is you connect it to Gittin by saying, just like a get, I don't have to notify my wife that I'm writing a get before I have it drawn up. So to a Shtar Kiddushin, I don't have to notify her before I have it drawn up. The other opinion says no. If you're comparing it to Gittin, you should compare it as follows. Just like when, by Gittin, the party who is creating the release or the transfer of the marriage personage from one party to the other has to know about the get in advance. So too, by Kiddushin, the party who is transferring the marital personage, has to be notified in advance. What do we mean by that? By a get, who's creating the release and the transfer? The husband. He says, with this get, I am releasing whatever rights I have to you as my wife and giving them back to you. So he has to know in advance that the get was written, that the get is being written. Otherwise, it's not valid. In Kiddushin, who is the one who is transferring marital rights? The woman is transferring to the man. And so therefore, she has to know in advance in order for the document to be a legal document.
So filling completely beginning to end, or just
what's that?
When you're saying making the document, is it the whole document? Like I know with a ksuba, you can fill in the blanks later on, right? But I get you got to do the whole thing, right?
So that's the whole question of Torah versus Tofes. That's discussed in the Gemara and Git. Neima kahani tanai. But now let's suggest, okay, fine. So it's not, that brisa is not indicative of a machlokas of Mekadesh b'milva. We've just demonstrated that. But let's look at another brisa. Maybe this brisa is the machlokas. Tanya, aseli shirim nizamim v'tabaos v'ikadesh ani lecha, keven sha'asa'an mekudeshes divi Reb Meir, v'chachamim omrim ena mekudeshes at sheyagia mamon liyada. That's the whole brisa. A woman says to a man who's her suitor, she says, I know you want to marry me, here's some gold ingot, right? And she says, if you're a goldsmith, turn this into some nice jewelry for me, and when you deliver it back to me, I'll be mekudeshes to you. So Reb Meir says, that works. As soon as he makes it into gold jewelry and gives it back to her, she's mekudeshes with that. But the Chachamim say, she's not mekudeshes until money reaches her hand. Now the question is, what does this brisa mean? So, hi mamon hechidami. What do we mean by mamon reaching her hands? Ilema oso mamon, michlal de tanakama savar afilo oso mamon namilo, ela b'may mikadesha. So elalav b'mamon acher. So the question is like this: the Chachamim can't mean that she's not married to him until he delivers the jewelry, because then what would that imply? That Reb Meir holds that she's married to him even without delivering the jewelry? There's no mechanism at all. How could that possibly work? So we must conclude that Reb Meir holds that she's mekudeshes just by him delivering the jewelry, and the Chachamim hold that no, delivering the jewelry is not enough. He has to add a coin to that. He has to add something in addition to the gold jewelry in order for her to be mekudeshes. Let's just try and understand the machlokas. It's she gave him gold, he's turning it into jewelry, and the Chachamim say that his turning it into jewelry is insufficient for that to be kiddushin. You need an additional item of value that he has to present to her in order for them to be married. So now the question is why?
Because it's his service. He's paying for his service.
From the gold into jewelry, he's a koiner. No?
Well, that's something that we have to see. We're going to see that in a second.
He's added value, maybe.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, so you're all thinking along the proper lines. However, let's see how the Gemara analyzes this machlokas, and then we'll see what it has to do with being mekadesh b'milva. So ushma mina b'mekadesh b'milva kamiflagi. V'savri dekuli alma yeshna l'schiras mitchila v'yad sof v'hava milva. My love b'hai kamiflagi demar savar hamakadesh b'milva mekudeshes umar savar hamakadesh b'milva ena mekudeshes. So the Gemara's suggestion is as follows: we're not looking at the increased value of the work product of the gold that has been made into jewelry. The way the Gemara is at least looking at it now is he got 12 ounces of gold. He's returning 12 ounces of gold. But she owes him money for his workmanship, for his work product. Now, there are two ways to look at schirus, at a person that you hire for a finite period of time. Let's say I hired you for the day. Use this day to transfer my gold into jewelry. So the question is, at what point do I owe you for the day's labor? Do I owe you for the day's labor once you at the end of the day when you deliver the goods to me, or does the debt accrue continuously over the course of the day? Every second that elapses and I'm working, you owe me. So if you look at it in the latter way, that yeshna l'schiras mitchila v'yad sof, that there's a regular accrual of debt, so then it turns out by the end of the day, this woman owes me money. And basically what I'm saying to her is, here's your gold back. I can't be makadesh you with that because I'm returning the same gold that you gave me, but you owe me for the workmanship, and that's in the form of a debt. I'm forgiving that debt, and therefore you're married to me. Yeah. So if you look at it that way, that would explain why, according to Reb Meir, she is mekudeshes, and according to the Chachamim, she's not mekudeshes. That's the Gemara's suggestion, right? The Gemara says low. No, that's not the right way to look at it. Dekuli alma mekadesh b'milva ena mekudeshes, v'hacha b'yeshna l'schiras mitchila v'yad sof kamiflagi. Mar savar ena l'schiras ela basof, u'mar savar yeshna l'schiras mitchila v'yad sof. So no, possibly everyone holds that if you're mekadesh b'milva, it doesn't work. The machlokus is as follows. How do we look at a day laborer's wages? Does it accrue over the course of the day, like we suggested? In which case, by the end of the day, she owes me money. I have a debt to collect from her. Or, as soon as I give her the gold, only at that moment is the payment due. If you look at it that it's due at the end of the day when I deliver the goods, so then there's no debt here. As soon as I give her the money, I've given her my work product, and that is the financial instrument that I'm using to marry her. Not by forgiving a debt, but by giving her the work product at the end of the day. So that's why Reb Meir says it works. The Chachamim say it doesn't work because there was an accrual of debt over the course of the day, and his forgiveness of that debt is a Makadosh B'milvan. It doesn't work. The Iboyasem, I'll tell you another explanation. Dekuli alma yeshna l'schiras mitchila v'yadso v'makadosh b'mil ve'ena mekudeshes v'hacha b'umen kaina b'shevach kli kamiflagi. Mar sover umen kaina b'shevach kli, or mar sover ein umen kaina b'shevach kli. This is what Mr. Friedman was alluding to. That really the machlokes has nothing to do with being makadosh b'milva. Everyone holds that you cannot be makadosh b'milva. Everyone holds that there's a debt that is owed to this fellow because you accrue the work over the course of the day. The issue over here is, who does the gold jewelry belong to when the goldsmith is ready to deliver it back to the woman? According to Reb Meir, the very moment that I started altering its shape and fashioning it into jewelry made me the owner. I'm now the owner, and when I deliver it back to the woman and give it back to her, I'm transferring ownership from myself to her of gold jewelry, and therefore I can be makadisher with it. But according to the Chachamim, the gold never left her possession even while I was fashioning it into jewelry. And therefore, by giving it back to her, it's true that she owes me money for the workmanship, but I'm not giving her anything that doesn't belong to her already. And therefore, I can't be makadisher with it. I'll give you another answer. Really, maybe I'll tell you that no. There's no mekadesh b'milva, and the goldsmith did not acquire the gold. So what's the machlokes? Kegon shahosif la nofech mishalo. Demar saver milva upruta daite apruta, umar saver daite al milva. But the machlokes here is that when she gave the guy the gold ingot, so what did he do with it? He turned it into jewelry. But you know what? He had in his shop a little diamond chip, and he said, this would look perfect on a bracelet that I'm making for her. So he puts in the little diamond chip. It's worth maybe $10, right? It's not an expensive thing compared to the rest of the gold. But he says, that'll make it look beautiful. And then he presents it to her. So the question is, with the additional diamond chip that he put into the bracelet, can that be used as a mechanism for kiddushin? So if she's only thinking about the gold bracelet and not about the diamond chip, because it's really subsidiary to the rest of the bracelet, it's only worth a shava pruta, let's say, or a small amount of money, so then it's not going to work. And that's the way the Chachamim look at it. But Reb Meir says, no, he's added value to it. He's added substance to this bracelet of his own money, and therefore she can be mekudeshes with it. Uveplugta dahani tanoi, and this we actually see this machlokes in another brisa. The Tanya bischar she'asisi imach eina mekudeshes, bischar she'e'ese imach mekudeshes. The brisa says like this: I am a goldsmith. A man says to a woman, I've already done work for you. You owe me money. So there, the Tanakama says there's no kiddushin, but bischar she'e'ese imach. But I am going to work for you. And the work that I'm going to do for you, when I present you with the work product, then I want to be makadesh with you, so that does work. Reb Nassan Oimer, no, bischar she'ese imach eina mekudeshes, v'chol shekein bischar she'asisi imach. Reb Nassan says, regardless of whether he's already done the work or whether he's about to do the work, in both cases the kiddushin will not work by presenting her with the work product. And Reb Yehuda Hanasi Omer be'emes amru bein bischar she'asisi bein bischar she'ese imach eina mekudeshes, but v'im hosif la nofech mishalo mekudeshes. And Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is the third opinion. He says, I agree with Reb Nassan that you can't be makadesh a woman with either work product that she already owes you for, or work product that you're going to be giving her momentarily. You can't be makadesh with work product. But if you add value to the bracelet by adding a diamond chip, So then, by presenting it to her, that'll be the valid kiddushin. So bein Tanakama l'Rebbi Nasan ika beinayu schirus. So the machlokus between the Tanakama and Reb Nasan as to whether you could be Makadish and Isha with future work depends on how you look at the accrual of a worker's wages. If you look at it as mitchila v'yat sof, as Reb Nasan does it, so then again, even with future work, you're being Makadish b'milva and it doesn't work. But if you look at it as she only owes you the money upon delivery of the goods, so then the Tanakama says that it does work. As soon as you deliver the goods, she's Mekudeshes with the basically saying, what you owe me at this moment, I hereby give back to you as Kiddushin. And Bein Reb Nasan l'Reb Yehuda Hanasi Ika Beinayu Milvu Pruta, Mar Savar Milvu Pruta Daite Al Milvu, Mar Savar Daite Al Pruta. And as far as the machlokas between Reb Nasan and Reb Yehuda Hanasi, they both agree that the process of schirus is mitchila v'yatsof accrues over the course of the day. So you can't be Makadesh and Isha with work product. The machlokas between them is if you add a little trifle to the work product of your own possession, does a woman accept that as kiddushin or not, or is she only focusing on the main bracelet and not on the diamond ship that you're adding? And that's the machlokas there. Okay, let's go on to the next mission.
What happens if what he's adding isn't a tangible, let's say, extra hours of work?
That's the same. It's the same issue of schirus.
Oh.
If work product becomes due upon delivery of the goods, and only then it becomes payable, so then you could be Makadisher with that. But if it accrues over the course of the day, so then you can't be Makadisher. Okay, Mishnah. Hiskadshi li bekos zeh shel yain v'nimsa shel dvash v'nimsa shel yain, b'dinur zeh shel kesef v'nimsa shel zav v'nimsa shel kesef, or al menasha ani asher v'nimsa ani v'nimsa asher, eina mikudeshes. If a man presents a woman with kiddushin, but deceptively, meaning like this, he says, here's a cup of wine, be makadishus to me with this cup of wine. And then she looks at the cup, and look, it's a cup of honey. It's not a cup of wine. Or vice versa, right? Now, another option. He says, here, be mekudeshes to me with this silver coin. She then takes it and looks at it, and it's made out of gold. Or vice versa. He says, I'm giving you a gold coin, and lo and behold, it's made out of silver. In both cases, she's not mekudeshes. Now, and that means that according to the Tanakama, it doesn't matter the objective financial value of the object, but as long as he deceives her and she thinks she's getting one thing and she gets the other thing, deals off. It's not a valid kiddushin, even if it's greater value. And also, let's say a man says to a woman, marry me because I'm a rich man. And then he gives her the kiddushin, and then she reads his financial statements and she realizes that he's bankrupt. Or vice versa. There are some women who would rather marry a poor guy because they don't want one of these high and mighty silver spoon kids who's a spoiled brat who's raised in the lap of luxury, because he's going to be hard to manage. So what? Affluenza, right? Good word, right? That's the word people use today, right? So either way, if he deceives her, she's not mekudeshes. So Reb Shimon Omer, imhita l'shevach mekudeshes. He says no. Reb Shimon says as long as there's added value in the deception, then it is good. So if he told her it's silver and it's really gold, or if he told her I'm poor and he's really rich, so then you look at the objective value, and therefore she is mekudeshes.
What happened to the bracha and Leah? The deception.
That there was no deception in the mechanism of kiddushin over there. The question that you'd have, so it's not really analogous to the discussion that we're having now. The question is, could Yaakov have claimed mekach tos? Yeah. L'chora, he should have been able to claim mekach tos. I thought I was marrying Rachel, and instead I married Leah. Why is it a valid kiddushin? You're probably right. Maybe we'll see that even in the Gemara. I don't even remember. I'm sure it appears somewhere. But you're probably right. He could have said mekach tos.
He wasn't going to have a time to.
But he could have had a time to Lovin.
No, but Lovin listened to him. He didn't.
He did. He came rough.
But that's why he came to him the next day. And Lovin said, listen, stay married to her, and we'll give you Rachel too. Okay, the Gemara now says, Tanu Rabbon. Hiskadshili bekozeh tani chada bo uvamesha besocho v'tanya idach bo v'lo bamesha besocho v'tanya idach bamesha besocho v'lo bo. So we have three different versions in the Brisa of the text of our Mishnah. One version of the text is that a man says to a woman, here, be mekudeshes to me with this cup and its contents. Another version is, be mekudeshes to me with this cup, but not with its contents. And a third version of the Brisa is with this, with the contents, but not with the cup. So the Gemara says, "V'lo kasha habamaya habachamra habetzihara." The Gemara says it all depends what the fluid is that's in the cup. If the fluid is water, so then you can't be makadesh an isha with water because water has has minimal value, and therefore, I don't know today, if it's spring water, Perrier or whatever, Fiji, right? But in the times of the Gemara, water has trifling value. So therefore you say, be mekudeshes to me with the value of the cup, not its contents. If we're talking about wine, so when you present a woman with a cup of wine, the normal standard in those days was, oh, thank you for the cup of wine, I drink it up and then I give you back the cup. So therefore you only mean to be makadesh with the wine, the contents, and not the cup itself. And the third case is where you want to use both the cup and the contents to be makadesh, is where we're talking about fish brine, or Rashi says tziyara could also mean oil. It's a dip. And this is a kind of dip that you leave over in your cabinet for many days, in your fridge. They didn't have fridges in those days. Thank God we have refrigeration today. So you have this dip that is meant to be used over the course of several days. Since you're not going to drink it right away, but you're going to use it as a dressing or a dip over the course of a period of time, then obviously the person is not expecting the cup back anytime soon, and therefore he's giving her the dip and the cup at the same time. Anyway, that's the way that we explain why there's three different versions of the same discussion.
What's the difference between drinking the wine and it's gone, or the day before, and giving dates? She ate the date. There's no more date. So
that's fine. That's a valid kiddushin. If I give her said, here, this date is a shava pruta. You're mikudeshes to
she
me.
ate it.
She accepts it and then she eats it. That's a kiddushin.
Accepted the wine. She drank it.
But she ate it before.
Yeah, that's a valid kiddushin. That's perfectly valid. The issue here is not because she drank it. The issue here is, was there a mekach tos or not because she thought it was honey instead of wine? And here the discussion in the Gemara is, what verbiage did the guy use when he presented her with the cup of wine? With wine, he says, be mekudeshes to me with its contents, because he expects the cup back. That's all we're saying. So now the Gemara says, Im hita l'sheva chareze mekudeshes. So we saw the sheet of Reb Shimon who says that if he deceived her to her favor, which means the object he's giving her is even more valuable than what he said, then it is a valid kiddushin. So the Gemara says, V'lesle Reb Shimon, yain v'nimsa chometz, chometz v'nimsa yain, shneim yicholim lachzer bohem. Doesn't Reb Shimon hold of the halacha by financial law that if one party is it tells the other party that it's wine and when it's really vinegar, or vinegar and it's really wine, then if that's the mechanism of transaction, then either party can call off the deal, even though wine objectively is more valuable than vinegar. And yet we still say that the other party can call off the deal because sometimes, even though wine is more valuable than vinegar, a person would rather have vinegar than wine. Because let's say he's not a wine drinker, but he likes vinegar in the salad. So, Alma ika denichale b'chalav, ika denichale b'chamra. Hachanami ika nichale b'kaspa, v'lo nichale b'dahava. So why doesn't Reb Shimon agree that sometimes some people would rather have silver than gold? I don't know why, but maybe gold, because silver is a much harder kind of metal. Maybe you want the silver to make a set of silverware with. Mm-hmm. If you try to make cutlery with gold, it won't be usable. So why don't we say that regardless of the objective value, she's not mekudeshes because she was deceived? So Amar Rav Shimi bar Ashi ashkachte le'Abaye diyasu v'kumasaber le'librei, that I once found Abaye explaining this Mishnah to his son, and he explained to him that hacha b'mayaskinan kagon she'amar lishlucho halveini dinar shel kesef v'leich v'kadish li'isha plonis v'halach v'hil v'shel zahav mar savar kepeda umar savar mar makom hulo. So this is the way you have to understand why Reb Shimon says that as long as you give added value to the woman, she is mikudeshes, even though she was deceived. Because we're not talking about a case where the man directly gives the woman the coin. What we're talking about is where a guy has a friend. He says, listen, my friend, you're my best friend, and you know I want to marry Rachel. Do me a favor, I don't have any cash on me. You're going to Rachel's house. Lend me a coin of yours. Take a silver coin out of your pocket, lend it to me, meaning that you'll acquire it on my behalf, and give it to Rachel as kiddushin for me. That's what he asks him. So this guy Yankel, who's his friend, says, you know what? I'm going to do him a bigger favor. Instead of using a silver coin to be Makadesher, I'll be Makadesher with a gold coin. I'll make my friend look really good in her eyes by giving her a gold coin. So in that situation, Reb Shimon says the Kiddushin is valid. You know why?
She doesn't know what he was.
Because in that situation, she's not being deceived. She sees that it's a gold coin, and therefore there's no deception to her. It's only a question of the suitor. And the machlokas, therefore, is between the Tanakama and Reb Shimon, is that the Tanakama says it doesn't work because the suitor Dafka wanted a silver coin. He didn't want to spend that much on the Kiddushin. And Reb Shimon says no. The fact that he said a silver coin was just doing it for convenience, to say you don't have to go and buy her something really expensive. If you have a silver coin, use that. But it's lav Dafka. He didn't mean that it Dafka has to be a silver coin. He said it could be any coin. So anyway, so wait a minute. If that's the way you're explaining the Mishnah, then we have problems with the language of the Mishnah, because ihachi hiskadshi li, hiskadshi lo mi boile. Then why did the Mishnah say that the man says to the woman, marry me? It should have said in the Mishnah that the man says to the woman, marry him. Because the man presenting her with the coin is not the suitor, but rather the shaliach. Right? So that the language is not correct. And furthermore, hit al l'shevach, hit ehu l'shevach mi boile. And furthermore, when it says that he has deceived her to her advantage, that's not correct. No one's deceived her, but it's he has deceived him, it should have said in the Mishnah, because the shaliach has deceived the suitor. And the third thing is nimtza, then if she discovers that it's gold, that's also incorrect. Me'ikaranami de zahav hava. She always knew that it was gold, so why does the Mishnah say that later she discovers that it's gold? She was presented to her as gold. So Ella Amar Rava, Aniva Arisha Bechabura Targimna, Umana Reb Chia Bar Abin. So Rava says, I and the lion in the group, meaning Reb Chia Bar Abba, we were able to come to the correct interpretation of the Mishnah. That Hacha b'mayaskin and kigon sha'amra hi l'shlucha tzei v'kabali kiddushin miploni. So sha'amar li hiskadshi li b'dinar shel kesef v'halach v'nasan lo dinar shel zahav. Here's the case. It's not the man that is assigning a shaliach. It's the woman that is assigning, let's say, her brother to be the shaliach. And she says to her brother, listen, Yankel has promised that he's going to marry me. He told me that he's got a golden coin that he's going to give me for Kiddushin. Would you mind going to pick it up from his house? So her brother goes to Yankel's house, and lo and behold, Yankel gives the brother a gold coin instead of a silver coin. So the question is like this: when the brother brings it back to her and gives it to her, is she mikudeshes with it or not? So mar savar kipeda, umar savar maramakom hilo. So one opinion is the Tanakama says she's not mikudeshes because she was expecting a silver coin. She dafka wants a silver coin, and if she gets a gold coin, sorry, the deal is off. And Reb Shimon said no. She was only telling her brother that no matter what kind of coin he gives you, even if he gives you just a silver coin, that's fine. I'll take it for kiddushin. But she wasn't dafka makpid that it should dafka be a silver coin. My nimsa, and then therefore, what does the Mishnah mean when it says that she discovers that it's gold? The katsayer bivlisa. That what happened is that it was in a bag. So when the brother presents it to her, he presents it to her in a bag, and then she opens it up and says, oh, it's gold. So that's why the Mishnah says, in achinami, if the man gives it to her directly, we would say there's no deal. But when she appoints her shaliach and she says, go and get the silver coin, it could be, like Reb Shimon is saying, that she's not makbid dafka, that it should be silver. She doesn't care whether it's silver or not, and therefore she'll be mikudeshes.
Even if it's lower value? If she said, give me a gold coin?
Even if it's lower value. So Amar Abaye, Reb Shimon. Oh no. If it's no, that's the whole point. Reb Shimon says that only when it's higher in value do we say that she's mekudesh. That's the whole issue. Everyone agrees that when it's lower in value, it doesn't work. The Tanakama says it never works anytime the deal was changed. Reb Shimon says, as long as it was done via proxy, so then even if the terms were changed, it works, because whatever instructions are given to a proxy are not a demand that it be performed exactly that way, but just rather an accommodation to the proxy that I'm not going to be so meticulous about what kind of instrument he uses because I don't want to burden you any further. Amar Abaye, Reb Shimon Gamliel, Reb Elazar, Kulu Svir Lehumara Makom Hulo. That we have three Tanoim, all who hold that when you give instructions to a shaliach, they don't have to be followed specifically to the T, because we assume that the instructions are made as an accommodation, not as specific instructions. Reb Shimon Hada Amran, and we just saw Reb Shimon is the example of our Mishnah, where she gives instructions to her brother, the shaliach, say, bring back a silver coin. She doesn't mean it literally, bring back a silver coin. It could be any coin as long as it's at least worth a silver coin. Now, what is Reb Shimon Gamliel and what is Reb Elazar? Those, Emir Hashem, will be in tomorrow's DAF. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the Chol HaMoed and a good Yom Tov.